while back I installed a spike air intake on my 2008 Honda Shadow Aero 750. You can get these on eBay, Amazon, and the trick to these things is they don't come with any instructions. They basically give you a box full of pieces and wish you the best of luck. Now, I didn't film the install. I think at the time I didn't want the extra layer, and I was still kind of starting out making videos, so my confidence level wasn't where it is today. But future plans for this bike at the moment involve removing this thing, so I figured, hey, I might not be able to give you a how-to, but I can show you how I did it. Because actually, once you see how this thing goes together, it's fairly simple, because they give you a mounting bracket, they give you a plate, the little tube connects to it, the cone connects to that, bolts in right here and here. And there is one part of your factory intake that you do need to use. Because when you're looking at everything, it's not really clear how it actually physically attaches to the carburetor. And you're going to use that using your factory intake tube. And in case you're curious, this is what your factory intake looks like. There's me, how you doing? And basically you're replacing that cone with this entire apparatus. Now that tube I mentioned, that intake tube, that's what connected it to your, that's what connected your factory intake to the carburetor. It actually sat flush kind of in the box like so, kind of like that. And I know what you're thinking, said lucky aces. If you used your factory one, your factory intake tube, why do you still have one? Well, that's because I bought a second one. You have to cut this in order for it to fit with this intake. And in case I wanted to go back, I ordered another one. That's the part number 17254-MEG-000. And you only need a couple tools. You need an Allen that's going to fit here, an Allen that's going to fit here, an Allen that's going to fit here, Phillips screwdriver for the intake tube, and I like to use a little bit of this clear adhesive sealant to hold these two plates together. Well, not really hold them together, I just want to create an airtight seal. So now let's go ahead and do the reverse installation, I guess de-installation. Take a 3mm Allen, there's going to be 3 set screws that hold this guy on. Let's basically loosen those guys up. There's a third one underneath. Pull this spike cone, we're getting right out of there. So these are pre-drilled holes, if I remember correctly. So the set screw, you can see it's kind of like got a little collar right there. That set screw is going to sit in that hole and help hold this thing on. And if I remember right, I think there used to be K&N replacement filters for these things, but I don't know if they make them anymore. So now we got our tube. So the tube connects to this, I guess, adapter plate. That plate attaches to the mounting bracket, which is held to the engine casing. There's some existing holes here. Got a couple spacers, a couple bolts. And with this installed, your idle adjustment doesn't have anywhere to go, so I just zip tied it to this bracket. I've had good luck with that. It seems to do the trick. So now we're going to remove the bolts that physically connect this thing to the engine after I snip my zip tie for my idle air, or my idle adjustment, because I will forget. I'm going to take a 4mm Allen. And I can't remember if they give you an Allen wrench. I know they give you the bolts, the spacers, and the other hardware. I just can't remember if there was a little Allen key in there for you. I'm going to take that out, pull the spacer out behind it. Now this side, towards the front of the bike, because this thing comes with 3 different spacers. When I was first putting this together a while back, I was trying to figure out what the heck do I need 3 of these things for. Pretty much the bike, the mount on the front cylinder, you're using 2 spacers. 2 that are the same length, 2 shorty guys, and one that's a bit longer. You're going to use a short one and a long one up front, and a single one out back. So the only thing left holding it on here is the carburetor, the little boot. Trying to get in here with the camera, but there's a little Phillips hose clamp that attaches to the intake tube, and that's what holds it to the carburetor. So we just need to loosen that guy up, and we should be able, yep, just pop this right off. And that's what the intake side of your carburetor looks like. So if we take a closer look at this tube, we can kind of see how everything goes together. Here's that intake tube I was talking about. So you're going to reuse your existing clamp, and you're essentially going to cut this right on the outside of this ridge right here, towards the pointy end, I guess, beveled end, flared end, whatever. You're just basically going to cut that, toss this piece, and then just stick this in the mounting plate. Shouldn't have to use any silicone or anything on that. It should make a pretty good seal on its own. So as some of you have probably gathered already, this is where that silicone is going to come into play. So the bracket that holds the intake on the engine, this kind of weird, I don't even know what to call it. There's another plate that connects to it, right? So, and I don't think it matters which way this goes, because essentially this plate mounts to this bracket, and this tube attaches to that plate. And basically I just use silicone to fill in the gaps to help create an airtight and a watertight seal. So there's 2 bolts that hold this plate to this bracket. I can actually probably take this apart now that I think about it, because I'm probably not going to use it again. And I can always put more silicone on it. Because really, once you see how all the pieces get together, it's actually not too bad. Some of you have probably already clicked off. You're probably thinking, yep, I got it, man. No need for further explanation. So we'll go ahead and take these 4 Allen bolts out like so. See if I can break this silicone seal here. Oh yeah, ugh, I got old nasty silicone stuff. Yeah, so the intake tube attaches to this plate with those 4 Allen screws. And then you can see the 2, I guess, recessed holes here with these flush Allen screws. I don't even know what to call half this stuff, man. Those actually attach this plate to the mounting bracket. And you can kind of see where we cut the tube. That might give you a little bit better representation. And that's pretty much it, man. I mean, it's really not that difficult. Just do a healthy bead of silicone when you're pushing these together, a healthy bead of silicone when you're attaching this to this. That's kind of all it is, man. It's really not that bad. And I just know it looks intimidating because they give you it's a box of parts, and it's like, how do I install this thing? Because without that intake tube, I was like, how am I supposed to connect this to the bike? It doesn't even make sense. And after installing that intake, you're definitely going to want to rejet your carburetor. That's going to depend on, that's basically going to be a trial and error process based on where you live, current elevation, temperature plays effect to a degree. But luckily, it is extremely easy to change the jets out on this carburetor. And I know the kit comes with a bunch of jets. I would highly recommend getting like an actual kit, or at least do what I did and just buy a bunch of jets, because chances are the one that came with the kit are going to be way too big and you're going to be running way too rich. But either way, you're going to probably have to get into this carburetor, which is actually the intimidating factor for me of why it took so long to install this thing. I had this intake for like 6 months before I even installed it, but it's super duper easy to get in here. And if you want to know how to do that, you can check that video out right here. As always, y'all be good. See ya.